So a couple days ago, I saw something trending on the art side of Twitter, and I really wanted to cover it and talk about because this is something that I feel a lot of people, at least non-artists, and I feel like a lot of artists watching this are going to really relate to. This is, and it's as the title of this video is, this is why artists hate AI. This is the biggest reason why artists hate AI. To a lot of casuals or people who aren't artists, they don't really understand the implications of AI or why it's so irritating and annoying. And what I'm about to show you is the exact reason why. So first, to give some context, this is the thread that I saw and I found it very interesting because you typically see some of these threads time to time and they are all actually very helpful. But I will say one caveat though, and before you write your comments, please listen to me, please hear me out. I really think that pixel peeping and trying to look for AI artists in this day and age now at this point isn't worth it. It genuinely isn't. You're going to spend more time obsessing over what other people are doing and the chance that they might be AI or not, when in reality, I mean, I get the idea to fight the good fight and try to call out AI artists and try and put them on blast, but the only people who are going to actually call them out and try and hold them to a fire is actual artists. And the thing is, even if we were all to hold every single AI artist accountable, it won't do anything in the grand scheme of things. There's so many of them. They're like fucking cockroaches. And the thing is, the mass casuals at this point, a lot of casual people don't give a shit what's AI or what's not, because a lot of art to this point is just, oh, it looks good. All right, like and move on. I've seen so many AI accounts on Twitter now that have amassed a shitload of followers. They gain so much engagement, so many likes. It's actually really demoralizing. It's really sad. If you're someone who's just starting out, you're just a brand new artist, and then you look at that shit, it either boils your blood or you get really depressed and sad knowing that the algorithm is pushing garbage like this. Things that people are not even actually creating, things that they're just prompt generating. That's it. And for this situation, it's even worse, but we'll get to that in a second. So with this thread, this artist wanted to make an example of one of the accounts that were posting more or less AI images, right? Or AI art. And well, art. And so they're trying to show how can you spot what is AI art and what isn't. And so they're showing quality and consistency, muddy coloring. And they were showing from this part specifically, they were saying number 3, manipulation and profit is usually a brand new account with a few images. They often post about being the victim, like how people don't believe them. They tend to draw for free, for followers and open commissions and for profiting. And so they're posting all this and they try to show examples. And then you continue on and they show as usual work in progress. And then disclaimer, you know, they said some of these might apply to real artists, but mostly you won't see a real artist having them all. Please support real artists and don't support AI people. You can support real artists by retweets, comments, likes, and purchases, which is 100% true. If you really like an artist or you really want to support an artist, please retweet, comment, like. That all really genuinely helps in the algorithm and at least gives a chance for an artist to have their art be seen at least by maybe one more person. It's really hard out here, to be completely honest, when you're fighting against AI trash, and the fact that they push this shit out like a goddamn factory, it's genuinely sad. Now, of course, I know for some artists watching this video, they're going to look at this and see, if you want to pause the video and read what they said, you're probably going to be like, hey, I do some of that, or whatever the case might be. And they make sure to clarify that this it doesn't apply universally to just AI artists, and that actual real artists can do this, especially newer artists who are still trying to learn, or they just have a specific type of way that they draw. Especially I was reading a lot of comments on this one about muddy colors, and that there are a lot of artists who just draw this way and that is their style, and that this isn't a surefire way to tell if someone is doing AI art or not. Personally, as I said at the beginning of this video, trying to look for AI artists in this day and age isn't worth it. You're going to be able to tell them from if they really are. And the reason I say you can tell is because typically they output way faster than any other artist can. Unless an artist has literally just made a whole back catalog that they're going to just push through every single day. Typically, if it's something that looks really fucking good and then they keep posting bangers every single day, it's probably AI art. 9 out of 10 it probably is, because there's no, except for very few who are just probably workaholics that are fucking exceptionally gifted and talented, but they have also shown their work process from beginning to end. There are very few people who are going to be posting literal bangers every fucking day that has extremely high quality and detailed artwork. That is just impossible. And so now we move over to the user that was accused of using AI for their art, or just that their art in general is AI art. And so they made this. They said, since I get comments about my art being AI, I decided to use OBS and record some parts of my last drawing. And so this is what they provided. Now, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Anyone who's an actual artist will tell you that this doesn't show anything. This literally shows nothing. just showing the final process of you doing the render of a piece doesn't actually, that's not showing that's not showing what people really give a shit about. If you really want to show someone your process, you can sit there and have beginning to end, your sketch process, the concept phase, the idea, everything from the beginning to end is what people want to see. You can do time lapses. Almost every drawing software at this point has a time lapse feature. So you can sit there and have one that shows for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and I'll show you from sketch all the way to the end. And I'll even put one of my own on screen right now in case you don't draw and you're wondering what I'm talking about in terms of beginning process to the end process. Now, what really makes the situation look bad and why I really hate things like this is because they reply back to their post saying, guess who's getting DMs that is still AI and that they have proof. Love to see it. And so now in a post deleted by that same user, if I had to take a gamble, they're probably trying to say, hey, their shit isn't AI traced. It has nothing to do with AI. And then the user replied back showing this, and they says, this proof enough for you. This is of course very AI. And then this is what that artist claims is that they made themselves with no AI used. Then another example. And then here's what they made. Pretty much the same exact shit, right? But here's the funny part, right? They replied back saying, ain't no way they put my art through an AI image to image and claim it's the references I used. Can't make this shit up, dog. Now, to give some slight credit, there is a possibility, right, that someone could, and per chance, take their art and throw it into a AI image generator and just remake the same thing, but just slightly different and act like that's where they were pulling their references from, right? That is always possible. But I will say this, if you're really confident that what you made is 100% authentic, had no AI use, you clearly can just show the process and boom, you're good to go. You show right from the beginning the way you created and crafted the entire thing from the sketch, the concept, the idea, to your line art, to your render, and boom, you have convinced people and you shown them that, hey, it was actually legitimate shit. But you don't. And so, of course, I wanted to look into this a little bit more because I wanted to see where this was originally shown from. And the user who showed it gave a link to the actual person who originally posted this. And so they said, not naming what's probably used for this, but this, it lets you create AI art in different styles, including chibi, following a pattern of shading, lighting, and proportions exactly like her art. It doesn't take a lot to see that it's just line art trace and AI mistakes being fixed. And so then they provided examples, and then people were talking about, you're saying it's like Novel or something. I don't look into all these AI image generators, but essentially the example they're trying to show is, hey, this AI image generator can make the same exact shit more or less, and that looks pretty much exactly like their art. And so they're saying, hey, it's 9 out of 10 probably generated using this tool. Obviously, can it be 100% confirmed unless the user posts their actual references or what they use to create their art? Couldn't really tell you. But as you're about to see, the user that we've been talking about today has confirmed that they used AI in their stuff. And again, it doesn't really come as a surprise to anybody, just the fact that they tried to deny it for so long when there was no point in doing so. So a day later, after they show that video of them doing the rendering process but not actually really showing anything, they started to make follow-up tweets, which all, in my opinion, progressively get worse. But they said, wow, I woke up to so many new followers and so much attention on my posts. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm kind of scared though. There's so much going on. They continue on by saying, I'm being pressured to provide so much proof, and I was willing to do so until I realized I don't owe anyone anything. GG's, continue with my art as per usual, and appreciating my supporters. Now, I'm gonna be honest right there. The second you say that, this just means you don't have proof to show. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It is not hard to literally just show a time lapse of one of your pieces that you worked on. It is very simple. If you don't have one, then for your next one, tell people, hey, for my next piece, I'm going to record the entire process. I'm going to post it online and make all y'all shut the fuck up. And boom, problem solved. To sit there and just say this is just so wild to me because as you continue on, here's what they go and they say, I'm really overwhelmed. Should I delete my posts? The notifications won't stop. I just want to share my painting process to maybe a group of my followers when I hit 100. So then they continue on, and here's what they finally admit to. They say, after all that mess, I'm here to disclose. My art is heavily influenced by generic anime styles, and I use certain tools like AI to help me out with parts I struggle the most with. I use it for anatomy, certain lighting, and shading parts I'm unsure of. It helps me learn these things on my own, and with each drawing, I rely on it less, and I hope to continue my art this way. If people are bothered by this fact, they're free to not interact. Now, they finally admit that they're using AI references, but to most people, they're looking at it as, hey, you're pretty much just tracing the entire thing. You're not even trying to do anything different from it. And on top of that, as any artist will tell you, using AI is the last thing you want to use as a actual reference for your art to try and learn. If you truly want to learn anatomy, go look up actual real life photos, look at people's bodies, try and do the actual, I don't even know the proper terms myself, so my apologies, but do actual studies where you're drawing the people who are like naked models and shit like that. There's so many fucking websites that offer people who do things like that. They're actual literal resources that can give you an actual real step of learning how to draw bodies. AI is not going to do that. Clearly it's not working because people are calling out your shit and they notice immediately that your shit was used with AI. So it's not working. It's not helping you learn. It's just helping you make mistakes. To sit there and learn light and shade and everything, those are all things that are going to take years upon years upon years to actually properly learn. You're not going to be able to learn it just in a couple days and not rely on it no more, or in the sense of how they're saying, well, you know, the more AI references I use, the less I'm going to rely on it as time progresses. It's not going to work that way, dog. Art is something that you truly love and something that you're passionate about. You will go out of your way to properly reach the real resources and proper resources to learn how you should actually learn shading, lighting, anatomy, and you try to properly educate yourself on this. Doing it this way, it's not going to help you at all. Use anything but AI art, bro. And the reason why people are bothered by this is because there's no actual disclosure, and the fact that you tried to deny it for so long. So as people are saying about my art being AI, you just sit there and keep trying to go against the grain and say, hey, it's not AI. It has nothing to do with AI. If you would have been upfront and just said, hey, my shit uses AI art, I use AI references. Most of it is pretty much just me looking at AI shit and pretty much replicating it from beginning to end. Sure, people would probably be slightly less harsh on you because at least you're being honest. People have more respect for someone who's at least open and honest about using AI than people who want to sit there and sugarcoat it and try and lie, or try to sit there and downplay, oh, it's not really AI. I'm not really using it. You know, that's pretty much the crux of the situation. That's why people are being harsh. That's why people are grilling you. Now, all that aside, it doesn't provide any justification to ever dox somebody or ever try and go out of their way to try and bring them actual physical harm or try and cyberbully them until non-existent. At the end of the day, of course, there's always going to be people with nefarious purposes. They're always going to want to deceive, mislead people, don't give a fuck. They're going to try and do whatever it takes to gain all the support in the world and not care about actual criticism. That's always going to happen, but it doesn't justify going to that person and trying to put their life in harm's way by trying to dox them or do anything of that caliber. That is never the right way. At least try and educate someone, try and put them on the right path. If they don't listen, at least you tried, and that's all that personally matters in the end. Now, for the sake of this video, and because it's getting too long, I'm not really going to go too in depth on this. They made a post recently. They showed that they're working on Cleve from Genshin Impact. They show what the references are, and then someone made a reply back immediately showing that they literally traced it exactly. And so some of you reply back saying, I trace poses sometimes. I think that's fine personally. Sometimes people make sometimes people commission and want me to trace a pose as well too, and just make it their character. Everything else is things that I draw on my own. Now, again, I'm not going to get into all this. Maybe I'll just do a whole nother video talking about referencing, tracing, and all that. You make your own opinions on how you want to take this specific incident. I just wanted to show it real quick and say, hey, realistically, at the end of the day, people are going to be at least a little bit more lenient on you if you're open about using AI. And then the fact that you trace stuff. When you're tracing art and then on top of that, you're using AI art on top of that, it's a terrible combination all around, because you're using AI art and then you're tracing it and then you're posting it online. There's nothing wrong with tracing it, especially if you're doing it for personal use and you're not posting it online. There's nothing wrong with that. But the second that you start tracing shit and then you post it online as well too, and you don't even disclose that you're tracing your work, that's just going to be a bad look. And then on top of the whole AI shit, and then not even admitting to AI at the beginning, just doubling down saying, I don't know what you're talking about, what AI? That's a bad look as well too. To add on top of that, if you're going to trace artwork, at least trace actual artwork, and then on top of that, just do it for your personal use. To sit there and trace AI art and then pretty much just copy the same exact mistakes one-to-one and not even try to understand what you're tracing, you're not learning anything, because you're making the same mistakes from the AI art and you're just sitting there copying and pasting it without even taking a second to look at it and see, this doesn't even look right. This looks really weird or looks odd. Maybe I should change it. To sit there and just copy it one-to-one and then just continue to use that doesn't help you learn at all. You would be better off just copying someone else's actual art from a real artist and then trying to learn from that, and again doing it all for personal use. There's nothing wrong with doing it for personal use and for learning, but to use AI generated images and then trace them and then just go along with it without even trying to understand what you're tracing or why you're tracing it, in my opinion, doing that, you're not helping yourself, and you're just going to make things so much harder in the long run. And it's sad to see. I would also like to add, and I know that this one has always been a very mixed opinion, I guess, from everyone in the art sphere, But the idea of copywriting poses and everything else, there's no such thing, dog. You can't copyright poses. If you see a pose in artwork that you like, fuck it, go ahead and copy it. There's only so many fucking poses in this whole entire universe. Just don't copy the whole fucking artwork, and on top of that, don't trace it either. Sit there and take the pose and then make your own character with it, make your own body type. Sit there and do something different with it. Don't try and make a one-to-one replication. It's fine to take poses from art. People do it all the fucking time. But it's when you start to copy the whole exact entire piece and then you don't make any changes at all or trying to do anything different, that's when it becomes pretty much copying. And then on top of that, if you sit there and in this case you use AI references and then you just trace that shit, it's going to look even worse because first of all, it's AI generated, so people are going to notice flaws in it because you didn't notice it and you're using it as a crutch, which again, there's nothing wrong with not knowing how to do certain things, but you should be more careful in what your actual resources are to try and learn and get better. And so because you're tracing stuff and then on top of that, you're tracing AI generated images, it doesn't help you at all. And that's how people have gotten to the point where they are with this and why so many artists have been upset. Again, if the user is just transparent and honest about everything from the beginning, then I highly doubt this would have even blown up to the way that it did, because there are so many AI quote unquote artists or prompt engineers or any of those words on Twitter. It's just typically when one likes to try and hide it or they try and dance around the truth and try and just say certain things here and there without really revealing any information, then it really starts to make you look bad and it makes you look like you have ill intentions because of the way you're trying to obscure the truth and not tell the exact complete truth behind your process and your art. Anyways, the reason why artists get so upset about this is because they spend so many years, and especially ones who are starting out, and they're trying their best to learn art and try and do the best they can to make art that hopefully people like as well as themselves. And instead they get people like this who are literally just copying, exacting, tracing poses and then using AI art and pretty much just replicating the exact fucking thing and then posting it online as if it was created from scratch by themselves. And then those people get blessed by the algorithm and their art is being the one that's pushed up and everyone's liking it and fans or everything else is all just flocking to them, where you got the artists who's just literally starting out or small time artists, people who have been grinding for years just trying their best to learn shit, and they're pretty much getting shitted on by the algorithm and they get no attention whatsoever. But someone who's using AI as a crutch and using that as a means to get their art out there, it's just really depressing. It's demoralizing to sit there and see that, because it just invalidates all the hard work that someone who's trying to learn from the ground up is trying to do. That's literally all it is. Anyways, I've talked about this long enough. I just want to bring this up because I think this is a great discussion to have, and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section below. So if you made this far into the video, consider giving a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment what you think. Also, join the Discord if you haven't yet. Have a great day. Yeah.